Tame Psychadvice. She's ready to take you to new heights. All you gonna do is open your mind. Take a ride and a deep dive into your life.
Hey everybody. So it came today. I've been waiting for what seems like forever for my 23andMe results. I decided to do that one instead of Ancestry.com because they would share some interesting things about your traits. And you know how you finally get something and you think, I'm gonna wait till later when I can really enjoy it. But you just can't wait, because you can check it on your phone while you're at work. And so I was like, I have to take a peek. I just have to look. So I didn't look at everything until I got home, but I really looked at the big picture. I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised. I was definitely surprised by some things for sure. The reason why I do ENFJ Life is to kind of share with you some things that are a little bit more personal, because I don't think that I'm that great at that. I don't even know if this channel has really a place for that. So I try to do that just so you can get to know me a little bit better. So anyway, so the reason I ended up doing this was because I talked to this service guy who came to my house, and we just talked. And he was trying to figure out, I guess, my ethnic makeup, because he had done Ancestry.com. So he was telling me all about his results and just how it worked. And he was telling me you should really do it because it'll be fun to find out the cultures that make up your ethnicity. We know almost no one is just a pure anything. Everybody has something, some percentage of something in them, usually. I guess there are some people who might not. But anyway, I think most people have other mixtures. It's just interesting. I mean, we live in this huge world that's made up of so many different things. I am going to share with you what my results were. Mine were basically 3 different groups or whatever. I'll go from, I guess, the most or the largest percent down to the least percent. All right, so here we go. For some people it might surprise you, and some people it might not surprise you at all. But I was definitely a little surprised because I didn't know what to expect. So they say, this is what they say: Ancestry Composition. Your DNA tells the story of who you are and how you're connected to populations around the world. Trace your heritage through the centuries and uncover clues about where your ancestors lived and when. Okay, so I guess this is my heritage. So the biggest section is Sub-Saharan African. It says that I am 72.5%. And then it breaks down. I thought this was really interesting because there's a whole bunch of different African places that it traces my ancestors to. So it's not like one place. It gives me a whole lot of them. So the majority of it is 62% West African, and underneath that is Nigerian, 31%. And then 13% of me is Ghanaian, Liberian, and Sierra Leonean. And then 6.2 of the West African is Senegambian and Ghanaian. And then the last portion of the West African is 11.8% broadly West African. So the remainder, another portion of the the sub-Saharan African, and I hope I'm explaining this right, is another group that is 9.5% Congolese and Southern East African. And in that section, 8.1% of that is Angolan and Congolese. 0.2% is Southern East African. 1.2% is broadly Congolese and Southern East African. And then there's a third area that they list under African, and it is 0.4% African hunter-gatherer, and then 0.6% is the fourth section under African, and it's broadly sub-Saharan African. So I'm just like, wow, there's so much to look up. I'm curious about all of those places. Some of them I've heard of, some of them I haven't. Basically, 62% is West African, which in America, there were slaves, and they said that the majority of slaves were taken from West Africa. And so that's why there's such a big percentage, 62%. The other, I guess, 10%, I guess, would be more unusual. And that was the other, I guess, the other three sections that I listed. So I won't say those all over again. You just have to re-listen if you're curious. And then the next big section, so that was the first portion of my heritage, I guess. The next portion of my heritage is European. And it is about 25%. It's actually 24.6%. So I guess that would be like a quarter. And so I'm probably not explaining this the perfect way because I've never seen this before. So the whole European heritage portion is from Northwestern European. Makes up the whole thing. So underneath that, it breaks it down into percentages, and it says that I am 13% French and German, 9.3% British and Irish. And underneath that, it says Greater London, United Kingdom, plus 9 regions, and you can click on that and it gives you more information. And then the last percentage underneath that would be 2.3%, and it says broadly Northwestern European, which is, I don't know, that's kind of what the whole title is called, but they put the word broadly in front of that. So I don't know exactly what that means, but it's so interesting. I had a very good friend for a long time, since high school, but we've lost touch, and she was French. Actually, she was half French, half German, which I'm 13%. So I guess we share some heritage there. If we ever get back in touch, that would be kind of interesting to share with her. So, yeah, and underneath it gives you, they tell you it's 23andMe. They give you some interesting information about each one of the places that, how do you say it, is your cultural background or makeup. And then the last section, drum roll please. What do you think it's gonna be? The last section is East Asian and Native American. And it is 2.2%. And I thought, honestly, that the Native American part was going to be a lot bigger because I grew up hearing my great aunts talking about our Native American heritage. I was not expecting to see East Asian in there, but it says Native American is 1.4% and Chinese and Southeast Asian is 0.8%. 0.6% has 4 different groups in there. Actually, it's listed underneath the Chinese and Southeast Asian, the next 2 parts. So 0.6% says Indonesian, Thai, Khmer, and Myanmar. Sorry, please forgive me. And then the last portion under Chinese and Southeast Asian is 0.2% broadly Chinese and Southeast Asian. And then what's interesting, so hey, I'm sure that there are people who watch me and I am related to you, or we share the same heritage. So that's exciting and fun. And then the last section is called Trace Ancestry. We detected traces of the following populations in your DNA. Okay, so it is 0.4% Southern India and Sri Lankan. That's so interesting. I wonder what relative had that portion of my heritage in them. So curious, right? I have not decided whether or not right now I've said no as far as getting to know like any new relatives. You can collaborate and meet people who are related to you that maybe you've never met, that are in your lineage and all of that stuff. And as of this point, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm not saying that I never will. I just remember a family member getting a phone call from someone saying that they were a relative and they didn't want to be a part of that. So I just thought, I don't want to open up something and then it creates some type of an issue. So anyway, I thought that was really pretty fun, pretty cool. And if you're curious, I would say, hey, go for it, if it's something you're interested in. And also, before I go, just remember I've written a book, which is shocking. They do give you some interesting facts about your ancestry, and I wonder if any of them have ever written a book. Because it also says that people with my DNA wake up, they said I wake up at probably about 7:50 a.m., like on a day off or whatever. And that's true. I like mornings. I function so much better in the morning. So it gives you a lot of little interesting things like that as well. So anyway, I've written a book. It's called The Workplace Narcissist. Would love for you to check it out. Of course, there are narcissists of all ethnicities, heritages, cultures, and backgrounds. Yeah. And no matter what culture they are meanies. We're not fond of them, right? But we have to learn how to live with them. I put some tips. Hey, I tried to put some things in there to help you out if you're dealing with difficult people of any, in any area of your life. So I hope you enjoyed hearing me share with you what it says about my heritage. I'm still a little bit in awe and excited and curious. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.
Personality disorders, stay away from them narcs. Watch your personality target, you know who you are. Welcome to Psychadvice.